everyone. So today we're going to work on half of a hexagon shape. If you've ever worked with the hexagon motif for Afghans or baby blankets, you'll notice that there will be a point in time when you're putting all of your pieces together where there will be a couple of gaps missing. Very similar to this project I'm working on here for an upcoming tutorial for you guys. We've put our hexagons together and this little space here would remain open. So this is where the half hexagon motifs become really, really important. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And not only that, we're going to talk about creating half of a hexagon from half of a circle, because the hexagons I created in that particular project started off with a circular motif in the center, and then eventually we shaped them into hexagons. Some people use the granny square hexagon mode. I like doing a lot of my projects with the solid hexagon shape. So today we're going to take you through doing a half circle and then transforming that into half of a hexagon. So I've got a little bit of my yarn left over here from that project that I have coming up for you in an upcoming tutorial, so stay tuned. It's just a medium size 4. You can certainly use any type of yarn you wish. And for this particular project, I am using a 5.5 millimeter hook, also known as an I or a size 9. As always, you want to make sure that you've got a darning needle on hand and a trusty pair of scissors. Okay, so we are going to begin with a cinch circle. Okay, so we'll insert our hook and chain 1 to secure. Now we're going to chain an additional 2. And this will give us the height of a double crochet stitch, and those are the stitches that we are using in this project. We're now going to do 1 double crochet into the ring. Okay, it might be a little wonky because you're working into basically midair, practically. You want to continue to do another 5 double crochets into the center of your ring. So in total, you will have 7 double crochets in the center of your ring. And remember, the chain 3 at the beginning counts as 1. So technically, there's a chain 3. I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need to do 3 more. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you when you're done. Once you have your 7 double crochets, you want to take your short tail there and just cinch your circle shut. Now, I don't want to pull it as tight as I normally would for a full circle because I want this to sit like half of a pie, just like that. So you cinched it shut, but now we've got more of a semicircle, and that's what we're aiming for. Okay? Now, at this point of the game, because of what I'm doing for my particular project, I am going to introduce my second color, which is the white. For those of you that are just working on this as a motif, you don't have to change colors at all. I am, but I also feel it helps you guys to see the work a little bit more clearly. So I'm going to introduce my second color. And if I was not introducing my second color, I would now just chain 3, and then I would turn my work. But I'm just going to knot this here for now. Just secure it. So I'm going to turn my work. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to go into the very next stitch, and I'm going to do 2 double crochets into that stitch. So we want this to lay flat, so we have to add some increases in the number of stitches we have. Okay, so we have something that looks like that. Then we'll go into the next one. And we'll do 2 as well. So we're going to do 2 into every single stitch except for the very last one. Once you've chained 3, we're now going to work in between our stitches. Usually you would work into the stitches, but for this particular project, I am working in between the posts there. So once I've chained 3, just going to work over that tail there. I try to work over my tails as much as possible. That will save me sewing some in at the end. If that throws you off, then just wait till the end. So in between this first stitch right there, I'm going to insert my hook and I'm going to do 2 double crochet stitches. Okay, so you have something that looks like that. And now I'm going to go in between all of these stitches here and I am going to do 2 double crochets. So if I've done 2 double crochets into each space, my work will look like this. Now what I want to do is this last one here, which is a chain 3, I'm not going to go into that space. I'm actually going to go into the top of the chain 3 and I'm just going to do a double crochet. Okay, so at the end I will have 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so your work is going to sit like this. And now for the third row, I'm going to go down to using single crochet stitches. Okay, so just going to take my yarn here. I'm going to reintroduce my purple. Just cinch it like that. And I am just going to chain 1. Okay, and actually I'm going to tie this off to secure this. And I'm going to actually cut my white because when we come back to it, we'll be on the other side. So round 1 or row 1, we did a chain 3 and 6 double crochets. So we have 7 stitches here. For row 2, we chained 3 and then did 2 double crochet stitches into each space. Except for the last one, we went right into the top of the chain 3 and did 1 double crochet. This gives us 12 stitches. So if we'd gone on to round 2 where we'd have 24 stitches, we then would have 12 stitches, which is what we're at now. Okay, so for round 3, for row 3, we've chained 1. You're going to turn your work, and now we are going to do 1 single crochet into that first stitch, and we're going to do another single crochet into that same stitch. So we're starting off right away with an increase. Okay, I'll just push my tails down there, and now in the second stitch we are just going to do 1 single crochet. So the pattern now for this row is 2 single crochets into the next, then 1 single crochet, 2 into the next, and then 1. And you're going to do that all the way until you get to your very last stitch. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. And now we're working into the stitches. We're no longer working in between the posts. So at the end of round 3, I now have 18 stitches. Okay, so I am just going to now introduce back my white yarn. And we're going to go on to round 4. We're going to increase for 1 more set. Okay, so I just stopped to weave in all my ends because I didn't want it to confuse you guys. So that way it's just a little bit of a cleaner look to work with, okay? So we are now going on to round 4, and this is the last of our increasing we're going to do. So we're going to chain 3 to begin, and I'm going to work over that tail. And then right into the very same stitch, we're going to do another double crochet right into that stitch there. Okay. And now we're just going to continue around and go 1 double crochet into the next stitch. And then another double crochet on its own into the very next stitch. Sorry guys, I'm trying to work over that tail to get it out of our way. Okay, so the pattern for this round will be 2 1 1 2 1 1. So that means 2 double crochets into one stitch, 1 double, 1 double. Okay, I'm going to do that again with you. So we're going to do 2 into the next stitch. And then we're going to do 1 into the next. And 1 into the next. Okay. And that's what we're going to do all the way to the end, exactly the same repeat. Okay, so now we're going to begin creating 3 of our 6 sides. So remember, a hexagon has 6 flat sides. When we're doing half of it, we're going to create 3 flat sides. So we have 24 stitches, and we are going to create a corner in every 8th stitch. So just to start off here, we're going to chain 3, and just so that it sits flat, we are going to place another double crochet into this same stitch here. Okay. And now we're going to count 7 stitches. We're going to do 1 double crochet into each of the next 6 stitches. So you're going to have something that looks like that. So in total, you're going to have 8 stitches because remember we added an extra one at the beginning. So in total, we now have 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now into the 8th stitch, we are going to do our corner. So we're going to insert our hook, and we're going to do 1 double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet back into that same stitch. So this creates our corner. Now a lot of people would do a chain 2, and that's cool too. For this particular project, I didn't want my corners to be that prominent, so that is why I'm only doing a chain 1. But a chain 2 is also very common. So that technically will help to create our first side here. Now for our second side along the top, we're going to do 1 double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. So after 7 stitches across the top, you can see, if I put it down, it's now starting to kind of square up, we would say. So now this is going into our 8th stitch. We're going to create a corner again, which is inserting 1 double crochet and chain 1 and 1 double crochet. Okay, just like that. And now we're just going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch. Okay, so at the end, the last individual stitches were 8 in total. And again, actually this was 8 up here. Sorry guys, I think I had said 7 at the beginning. We needed to do an increase here. So we have 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 before our increase. Now, in the regular hexagon we did have 7 stitches between each corner. Now, and that is what we have along the top here. On the sides, because we are working half of the motif, you always want to have 1 extra on each side, and that helps the work sit flat, okay? So, sorry, I miscounted at the beginning. So we created 8, then a corner, then we have 7 stitches, another corner, and then down is 8 again. Technically, the 8th stitches on each of these sides are just to anchor the sides down. So if I didn't count those, you'd have 7 corner, 7 corner, 7. I hope that makes sense. Okay, we're just adding a finishing round or row now, okay? Just again, for this particular project, you could be finished now if you wanted to be, but in this project we're working on, we always add a finishing row of single crochets worked into the back loops only. And all we're going to do now is just chain 1, turn our work, and we're going to work into the back loops, into that same stitch we just chained out of. You're just going to do 1. So there's no increasing here. We're just going to turn our work so we can see that. And it's back loop only, a single crochet. And so what that'll do is it'll push the front loops forward to create this really cool ridged effect. And then essentially this side here will become the front of our work because we've been turning the project back and forth. Sometimes it's hard to figure out which side do I want to be the front. But because we're creating this little ridge here, I don't think you can quite see it, the effect just yet. We're going to make that the front of our work. So we're going to keep doing into the back loops only. And I'm going to take you guys to this first corner here. Okay, so back loops. And I've got 1 more here. And then once you reach your corner, to maintain the corner, you want to go into the corner space. You're going to do 1 single crochet. Whoops. You're going to chain 1 and then 1 single crochet back into that same space. So we're maintaining the integrity of the corner shape, and then you will increase by 1 stitch on that side. See, now I think you can start seeing the ridge effect. Okay. Now, when you come out of a corner, really important, this first stitch is so easy to get hidden because the loops here tend to hide it. So you just want to push this aside and turn up your work. There we go. There's that first V. You go into that back loop and single crochet. Okay, so don't leave any stitch behind. And that's what we're going to do all the way to the end, and you will have the end product will be a half of a hexagon, or a half hexagon. Okay, so there you go. So it's starting to look like that. Okay, go ahead and finish that off, and I'll meet you at the end. So I'm just coming up to my very last stitch. It's the top of that chain 3. I'm just going to insert my hook and single crochet. Okay, so there is our half hexagon. Now, I don't stop here usually because what happens here is the bottom of our work tends to look a little bit interesting, to say the least, because these are the sides of our stitches. I know at some point I'm going to be sewing this to another motif, and then most probably I'm going to be doing a border. And working into the sides of these stitches and then coming up to the center here can be quite trying. So what I like to do is just continue around the bottom here to do a nice finishing row. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to show you what I like to do. We're going to go back into that same stitch we just went into. We're going to single crochet again. And if you notice, that helps us come right up around that corner. And now we're going to crochet into the sides of stitches. Now the general rule, so this is a chain 3, which represents a double crochet. Typically we can do 2 single crochets into the side of a double crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook into that next chain right there. And if I can get 2 loops, that would be great. This can definitely be a little testy. And I'm going to do a single crochet there. Okay. And now I'm going to go into the bottom of that double crochet, just right there. And I'm going to do a single crochet again. See? So see how it's coming around the bend nicely? Then you'll have proper stitches to work into, whether it's a border or you're going to sew this into something. Just makes it a little easier. So now I'm going to work into the side of the next double crochet. So I see a nice little spot right there. And it gets tricky. But you just have to be patient. And now I'm going to go closer to the bottom of that stitch. Trying to still catch a couple loops. And there we have it. See? And now this next round was a single crochet row. Sorry, I keep saying rounds. So I'm just going to find a space anywhere that I can nestle my hook in there. And I'm just going to do 1 single crochet. Okay. And now this was, it looked like the last double crochet here of that previous round. So I'm going to try and find the top, which looks like it's right about there. And sometimes I can only get 1 loop, so just be very relaxed. And now I'm going to go into the bottom, which looks like is right there. I'm trying my best to keep it all even. So essentially that's what you want to do. And it's not a perfect system because as you can see, it kind of can jut in a bit. But so far, I think it's been looking pretty good. I like that a lot. Okay, so that's how you would continue on. I'm just going to go a little bit further with you because I know going into the center can be a little testy. So this is looks like our chain 3 that we started with. So I'm going to find maybe the top somewhere, which maybe is going to be right about there. I'm going to single crochet. And now usually I'm getting pretty close to the center. So I'm going to go right into the center. Now remember at the beginning I said when you cinch your circle, you don't want to do it as tightly as you would a regular circle for this exact reason. Because there's always a point in time when we're going to work back into that. Now there's a little bit of a jog here. So I'm going to do another one into the center here. And I really like that. So see, now it sits much more comfortably. Okay. And so then you would continue on doing that till the very end, and then you can slip stitch at the end. And now you've got it all done and ready to attach to any project. Okay, so I've just finished my finishing row there and fastened off. And here we have it, guys. So you've got this sweet little ridge created. And that is half of a hexagon shape. Now, again, this is one of many, many different ways you can do half of a hexagon. So I hope that this makes sense to you and that you enjoyed working on it. So for example, I can turn it up this way depending on where I'm going to place it. Now stay tuned because this little guy is going to be involved in an upcoming tutorial that we have coming up on a hexagon motifed blanket. So that's coming up very, very soon. Stay tuned for that. And if you ever worry about some of your edges being a little bit wonky, you can always block your motifs, okay? In the meantime, guys, I have enjoyed taking you through this tutorial working on half of a hexagon. If you haven't pressed that subscribe button, make sure you do so so that you never miss any of our tutorials or crochet conversations. I love having you guys come along, and I love making all these new crochet friends. It is truly my delight. In the meantime, have a great day, happy crocheting, and take care.